I'm Jonathan Geller, and this is the BGR Show. The fall season is traditionally the busiest time of the year for new device launches as companies get ready for the holidays. Last week, the rush to show off new products ahead of Apple's iPhone 5 launch continued as Nokia and Motorola both unveiled their latest smartphones. Nokia announced two new phones, the Lumia 920 and the Lumia 820, and Motorola had three smartphones on display. Let's take a look at all the action as it unfolded. Nokia used to be the biggest smartphone company in the world by a huge margin, but the iPhone and Android took off in recent years and left Nokia scrambling to compete. The company's first generation of Windows phones really didn't resonate with consumers, but now Nokia is giving it another shot with the brand new Lumia 920 and 820. The 820 is Nokia's flagship Windows phone for the holiday season, and it picks up where Nokia left off. Physically, it looks a lot like the old Lumia 900, but the new 920 model pushes things forward in a lot of ways. First off, the new 4.5-inch display is incredible. It's bright, vibrant, and unlike most other smartphones, it's nice and clear even in direct sunlight. The screen's also covered with curved glass, which gives it a unique feel. Beyond the display, the Lumia 920 includes an 8.7 megapixel camera that shoots gorgeous high-definition photos and videos. It also has a dual-core Snapdragon processor, NFC, 32 gigabytes of internal storage that really helps set it apart, but it also supports wireless charging. This way you can just take your phone, drop it on a wireless charger, and not have to connect any cables. The Lumia 920 will launch later this year with 5 different color options: yellow, red, gray, black, and white. The second phone Nokia unveiled is a little less impressive, but it still could be a great low-cost option for smartphone buyers on a budget. It features a 4.3-inch AMOLED display, a dual-core Snapdragon processor, and an 8-megapixel camera. Just like the Lumia 920, the 820 supports wireless charging, but you'll need to buy a new back cover in order to get it to work. The Lumia 820 will launch sometime later this year in red, yellow, purple, gray, black, and white. After Nokia's event wrapped up, I headed across town to check out the latest and greatest from Motorola. Motorola is now owned by Google, and the company really made it a point to stress that it's undergoing some big changes. 3 new smartphones were announced by Motorola last week, and they really pushed the RAZR brand to new heights. The first new phones are basically 2 versions of the same handset. The Motorola DROID RAZR HD and the DROID RAZR MAXX HD will be Motorola and Verizon's flagship Android phones for the holiday season this year. Both phones feature an amazing 4.7-inch high-resolution display, and they also include a dual-core Snapdragon processor, NFC, an 8-megapixel camera, and a whole lot more. The only differences between the phones are the battery size and the amount of storage. The DROID RAZR MAXX HD's battery is 32% bigger, and it also has 32 gigabytes of storage. Motorola also unveiled the DROID RAZR M at last week's event, and of all the phones they announced so far, this is the one I like the best. One of the reasons why I really like the DROID RAZR M is because of the size. Nowadays, a lot of phones are getting bigger and bigger, but they're really hard to use one-handed, and they're kind of bulky and clunky. So I really like the fact that Motorola made the screen larger and actually made the phone smaller. So if you look at the phone, there's really no bezel around the screen. It's just the screen, and that's all there is. I think this is a great strategy for them. It still gives you a big screen. At the end of the day, you can still use the phone without dropping it with one hand. It's also really fluid. A lot of the software is better. They've really gone through and kind of cleaned up a lot of their user interface. It used to be a little confusing. Now it's a lot smoother. It's a lot more natural to use. It ships with Android 4.0, so it's not the latest version of Android, but it's definitely one of the latest versions and probably a newer version than what you have on your phone, for instance. A lot of the other things about the phone are really cool, like the hardware. It's made really well. They did a good job designing it. It's reasonably thin, and I really like the fact that they have this Kevlar back. It feels like it's really sturdy. There's a great camera on it. So again, it's not a really high-end phone, but at the end of the day, for $99, I think this is probably one of the best smartphones you could buy for the holidays.